So here we have Unit 5. We get to introduce algebra. We're going to learn some basics about algebra, including variables, terms, and expressions. And over here you see combining like terms. You also see that we're going to be counting up different things and mostly using letters. So everything we learned in the last couple units are going to be really important to know so that you can use those with variables. In this unit, remember we've got a pre-assessment that you should have already completed, and today we're going to be talking about variables and translating expressions. So please correct your pretest if you haven't already. You can pause the video and correct it as you go, or you can still correct it with the answer key in the back of the room. Notice that with volume, make sure that you even have the units cubed on there. And with area, make sure you have centimeters squared. When it's perimeter, it's just units. All right, at the bottom of this next page in your packet, please complete this part after you've corrected your pretest. So give your score, give your percent, check your understanding, and then a question or thought about this unit, and then a specific goal. Unit 5, vocabulary. For this one, you could either open up your glossary or you could just pause the video and copy this down. A variable is a letter used to represent an unknown. I like to say it's able to vary. So you can see those words right here. It's able to vary. Then simplify. That is where you're going to complete any and all operations using GEMDAS. If you evaluate, that means you substitute values to simplify an expression. So it has to have an expression that has variables in it in order to evaluate, and you should get a one number answer with some variables in it. For an expression, it should be just a math phrase using numbers and operations with no equal sign. The variable term is the chunk that includes a letter. So like 8x or the opposite of a. A coefficient is the number before the variable. For example, negative 6x, the negative 6 is the coefficient. And please remember that when you have that, you have to make sure to put the number before the variable. So like right here, oops, I didn't pick a very pretty color. Let's try that again. Let's try this. Make sure that you notice that for this one, the negative 6 has to be before the x. And also, if you look up here, this is 2y. It doesn't say y2. It has to say 2y. Always put the number before the variable. The constant should be just a number. It's a plain number, and it should not have any variable after it. Okay, let me try one other creative pen just because it's fun. So the constant is a plain number, such as this. Oh, interesting. That didn't really work the way that I wanted it to. Let's try that again. Oh, that's right. This is the one that disappears. Yeah, I was thinking of a different one. Sorry, guys. I was thinking of one that makes it stand up. Ooh, this is like a paintbrush. Fun. Okay, a little bit too much fun. Just didn't want you to get bored. Like terms. Terms you can combine. So like 3x and 4x, you can combine those together, and we're going to learn later that that will be 7x. So finish up your vocabulary and then turn to the next page. This is page 4. Page 4 is where you're going to write 5-1, translate words into math. So now this is 5-1. We did an activity like this in class. So if you recall, we did a little carousel where you had to come up with all the words that meant addition, all the words that meant subtraction, all the words that meant multiplication, and all the words that meant division. So I came up with some of the ones that you came up with and more. So please go ahead and copy these down. For addition, we've got sum, total, increased by, altogether, plus, combined, more, and perimeter. This is a really important one. Subtraction, we've got difference, minus, less, decreased by, how many more, take away, and what's left. Again, you can pause the video because obviously you can't probably write that fast. For multiplication, we've got product, groups of means multiply, per, times, area is a big one, triple or double, and then I would actually put half under multiplication. I know we put it on the other one before, but I'm going to put it on both because if you see, this is where you multiply by 1/2. Let me get a better pen. If you multiply by 1/2 like this and leave it as a fraction, then it's actually multiplication. But if you divide by 2, then that would be division. So here we have quotient, groups of. If you take half by dividing by 2, per or each is sometimes divide and sometimes multiply. Average is also divide. Out of means divide. And separate equally. I'd also like you to write down this little song that I love to sing. It is, equations have an equal sign, expressions don't. So please remember to sing this or at least give it a little beat. Equations have an equal sign, expressions don't. Parenthesis words. These are important words to note because you're going to need parentheses after you see the words times the sum of or times the difference of. And turnaround words means that you'll actually turn around the number and the variable. So for example, if I have 5 subtracted from a number, like y, then you're not going to write 5 minus y. You're going to write y minus 5 because you're subtracting 5 from y, not the other way around. And less than is the same, where you turn it around. So we'll see that on our homework in a little bit. The next page, page 5, has a few more notes to write down. A variable, again, are letters used to represent an unknown. And remember that it's able, sorry, this is a little harder to write. I forgot my stylus. So we're going to write able to vary. And maybe I'll actually use a typing tool next time. All right, able to vary because it can change. Examples are X, A, B, Y, any letter of the alphabet, and even some letters that are Greek that you maybe have never seen before, such as theta. An expression is a mathematical phrase made up of numbers, symbols, and operations. There are no equal signs. Just like we said, equations have an equal sign, expressions don't. An example of an expression is 2x plus 1. Notice there's no equal sign. And an example of an expression that has 2 variables would be like 4a plus 3b minus 8. Please try to write your own example with 2 variables. And then you can go ahead and turn to the homework page. The homework page isn't until page 11, so you'll have to look in your packet for page 11. This one is what we're going to do in class. So you will be translating. You're basically going to become a translator. You're going to change these words into letters and numbers. So basically turn it into math. So we'll do this first one together. 12 more than a number. So you want to look for numbers that you can obviously write down just as a number. But more than, you have to look back at your translator and see what that word means. So if we look back, more than, I see more under addition, which makes sense. And sometimes you won't even need to look it up. So we see the word more than means plus, so we're going to write a plus sign. And then anytime it says the words a number, that means you just pick a variable. So we get to pick whatever one we want. And I think that I am going to pick K today. All right, so that's all you have to do. Do the rest of these. Make sure you pay attention to any time it has a turnaround word. So let's see. Less than is a turnaround word right away there. And then also look for any time it might have parenthesis words. So there you go. 5-1.